Welcome back to Caribbean 1101. Today, we have guest speaker Danielle Supersad coming from the beautiful Twin Isles of Trinidad and Tobago to talk to us about the relevance of Black Lives Matter movement to the Caribbean. Danielle?
Thank you, Jerome. Black Lives Matter, a hashtag to a global phenomenon. But is this really a recent movement? Some say that the movement gained worldwide recognition after George Floyd's death at the knee of a white man. That surely sounded the global alarm. Though, Marissa Lucero believes that the movement was founded in 2013 after the video of Trayvon Martin's murder at the hands of a white police officer went viral. However, it has always been a fight for survival. A comparison can be made between the Black Lives Matter movement and the Black Power movement. The main difference? Half a century apart. Lack of basic human rights still ache our heart. But we don't have racism here. Why that foreign thing should affect we? Trust and belief. Factors later mentioned, such as Eurocentrism, slavery, race, colonialism, is a major reason why the Black Lives Matter movement should and does concern us here in the Caribbean. So, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because today we will discuss the relevance of the Black Lives Matter movement to our current and past Caribbean. Let me digress for a moment to take us on a brief journey back in time. According to Sprague, Ekoto chimed that the Black Lives Matter movement is merely a continuation of the struggle against degradation as seen in Caribbean poet Aimé Césaire's writings on negritude, thus relaying the relevance of the current movement to our Caribbean past, highlighting the rights we still have not amassed. However, Drayton focuses on a more positive past. He implies that the 1960s civil rights era gave rise to change on a global scale. Therefore, it was no surprise that this movement did not fail. Coupled with the efforts of the notorious Marcus Garvey and Toussaint Louverture, Caribbean nations like TNT and Jamaica became inspired to emancipate themselves from colonial reign. Such a notion gives us hope. Hope that positive change is not only possible but contagious. In a way, the civil rights and Black Power movement can be considered the birth mothers of the Black Lives Matter movement. Unlike these past movements, the Black Lives Matter movement is a beacon of hope for the oppressed. However, the dream of equality is not possible with white superiority, not when Eurocentric ideologies perpetuate modern-day pigmentocracy. We still see George Beckford's model of plantation society mirroring our history of colonial slavery. It is the early concept of contempt for superficial differences that has been ingrained. This can be considered the very origin of our pain. Our ancestors' humanity was never considered. In fact, it was hindered. They were treated like chattel, beaten, bruised, and branded like cattle. Though slave coffle horrors may no longer exist, generational prejudice still persists. We are still linked together by the stigmatic factors of our skin color and hair texture. I sometimes wonder, will we ever be able to find our happily ever after? Police brutality that is rampant in the US takes the form of systemic racism and white supremacy, a never-ending legacy of ethnocentric ideologies. As Nixon rightly says, these are systems born out of and cultivated through colonialism, patriarchy, and global capitalism. Whether you're African American or Afro Caribbean, they see us all the same, a threat, part of a reimagined global plantation society that only perpetuates death. Now, you might be thinking, that foreign thing ain't had nothing to do with you, right? Wrong. Rid yourself of that self-centered disorder. Have you no empathy for our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean diaspora? Cummins states that history needs to be represented beyond the central representation of the colonizer. It needs to embody the experience of the oppressed. And that, my friends, is the very essence of this Black Lives Matter movement. We are making history through every improvement. We must stand in solidarity, much like our Trini activists who stand in peaceful protests outside the US Embassy. At the end of the day, my Caribbean family, imagine taking vacation or even migration to a place where you're automatically lesser than, less innocent, less free, less rights than the white man. Maybe then you would understand how relevant Black Lives Matter is to the Caribbean.